Take a breath.
Happy Monday. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thanks for waking up with me each and every weekday morning to stay informed of what's going on in Illinois. A couple of things to tackle. One, a bill Governor J.B. Pritzker signed on Friday that deals with the Illinois Prisoner Review Board. And this has been a pretty contentious issue for several years, as the governor has essentially, got the authority to appoint people to the Prisoner Review Board, the body that deals with people who are looking to get out of prison and a variety of other issues and victim impact statements and such. So we'll take a look at some of that, but we'll also have to take a look at what's going on with members of Congress from Illinois and their reaction to President Donald Trump's order to strike nuclear facilities in Iran. So that's all on the way here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning, where you can get the latest of what's happening in the land of Lincoln. Obviously, when they're not in session, as they were all throughout May, that limits what's going on at the State House. But there's plenty of stuff for us to do this summer, including looking at all the legislation that the governor's going to sign. Also, we've got the Illinois State Fair coming up, a whole bunch of stuff. But let's get to it, all right? Get to thecentersquare.com, sign up for that newsletter, and join us each and every weekday morning here with Illinois in Focus on YouTube. Plus, you can also get the podcast where you get podcasts. Just go check out Illinois in Focus wherever you get your podcasts. All right, stay tuned. We'll hear what President Trump had to say about the strike on Iran, but also take a look at what members of Congress have to say about it all. So it's right here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Three nuclear facilities in Iran struck by Moabs from the United States military in an order that President Donald Trump gave to strike Iran. This is going to be an interesting play internationally as the president works to end the Iranian nuclear capabilities. While you've got Iran and Israel going back and forth after the October 7th attack from Hamas on Israel and the ongoing war that's between those in Gaza and Israel. All of this on the international stage while you've got Ukraine and Russia still in flames against each other, and President Donald Trump saying that he wants to be a peacemaker. But is that what's happening with all the criticism he has received, even from some of his base in the Republican Party? It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning to get the latest. Of course, over the weekend, big news. President Donald Trump holding a late evening news event over the weekend. Here he is talking about the actions he took in international conflict dealing with Iran's nuclear capabilities.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left.
So Trump laying out there the rationale as to why he struck Iran in 3 different locations with bunker busters, essentially. This is, again, really split people, even in the Republican Party. You're seeing it on X with the pointing back and forth about, are we going to start another forever war? Donald Trump said that he wasn't going to do that, was critical of Iran and Afghanistan and those protracted conflicts, those long-term conflicts. Is that what's going to happen here? There's some significant concerns, including within the libertarian wing of the Republican base that supported Trump. But what about Illinois congressional members? It's always good to kind of tap into what they have to say about these things, because number one, they represent you here in Illinois, and then number two, there's congressional oversight on war making, and the War Powers Act does give some latitude to the chief executive, the commander-in-chief, president of the United States, to take certain types of actions. But typically, Congress likes to have that oversight role and to see what's going on. So let's go ahead and check out some of the X posts here from members of Congress. Here is Rajna Krishnamurthy, a Democrat member of Congress from Illinois. He said his statement is, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Cannot. Which is why President Trump's decision to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal is proving to be a grave mistake. However, the president also cannot take unilateral military action in Iran without congressional approval. We must pursue a diplomatic resolution to protect the American troops, our interests in the region, and global peace. As I return to Washington this week, and as a senior member of the House Intelligence Committee, I will seek detailed information regarding this developing situation. So that's Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy in their statement. Congressman Mike Quigley, another Democrat, he says that Donald Trump was elected to end wars, not start new ones. Now he has involved our nation in a conflict that the vast majority of Americans do not wish to be part of. Worse, he's putting our service members in the region in grave danger and increasing the likelihood of an attack on U.S. soil. Iran is one of the largest state sponsors of terrorism in the world, and I believe preventing them from developing a nuclear weapon is critical to global security. The way to accomplish this goal is through diplomacy. But obviously, the White House says that they've tried diplomacy, and diplomacy has not been accepted by Iran. And that has led to what President Trump said. He's done trying to make a deal and has taken the steps he's taken. We also have here a little bit of a video clip that Tammy Duckworth, congressperson from Illinois, the junior U.S. senator, she said that Trump wants to bang his war chest. This is from the People's Cabinet, a short clip here of Tammy Duckworth. Let's go ahead and tune in and see what she had to say here. All right.
I think he is the lead person drumming on the drums of war. I think Trump thinks this is a good thing. I think he wants to be seen as strong and wants to be seen, he wants to thump his chest and is itching to use America's military might somewhere around the world. And that is not in the interest of the United States. Now, do I think Israel has a right to defend herself? Yes. Do I think that Iran should not be pursuing a nuclear arsenal? I agree with that. But Trump is the guy that put us out of the Iran nuclear deal. So if we're here, it's because Trump did that.
So obviously, a lot of criticism of Trump getting out of the Iran nuclear deal from years ago that allowed them to have some uranium enrichment capacities, but not necessarily to the extent of where you would be able to make a weapon. So those are just some of the statements from members of Congress over the weekend. Mike Bost, he just simply shared this image of President Donald Trump saluting and a graphic from Truth Social where he, shared an American flag. You got Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski says, my top priority will always be the safety and security of the American people. While Iran must not be allowed to become a nuclear power, we cannot afford to be drawn into another endless war that places American service members in harm's way. The Constitution is clear. The power to declare war lies with Congress. Any escalation must be deliberated and authorized by the legislative branch in full consultation with the American people and their elected representatives. This is not only a legal obligation, it's a democratic imperative. This administration must be transparent and put the safety of our service members, of the American people, and all our allies above all else. Goes on. You've got others who are posting their comments. Congressman Jonathan Jackson posted this on X, says the current situation in the Middle East is deeply troubling. I have long maintained that Iran must never be allowed to possess nuclear weapons, nor should any nation in the region. Diplomacy, not unilateral military action, must guide our approach to preventing nuclear proliferation. I supported the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action negotiated through U.S. leadership in the partnership with our allies, which, while imperfect, it was the most effective means of restraining Iran's nuclear ambitions at the time. President Trump's decision to unilaterally withdraw from the deal against the counsel of our allies undermined global security and allowed Iran to resume uranium enrichment at alarming levels. Goes on to criticize Israel and the preemptive strike on Iran and so on. So you can kind of see where the lines are being drawn here, at least with some members of Congress. And it goes on from there. You've got Senator Dick Durbin also chiming in. He posted on X. During his first term, President Trump killed the Iran nuclear deal, which required mandatory inspections and invited this dangerous situation. Iran, without inspectors, appears to have been developing dangerous weapon-grade material. And now President Trump's actions in bombing Iran puts the U.S. on the brink of a wider war in the Middle East, all without constitutionally required congressional approval. Our recent experiences in Iraq should be a stark reminder of becoming embroiled in wars in the Middle East. So you can go on from there. Let's take a look at some of the other things that have been said about this when it comes to the steps that President Trump took over the weekend. You've got Democrats very, very critical of this. And Representative Mike Bost, earlier we shared with you just a graphic he had, but also over the weekend he posted this. He said, I trust President Trump made the decision to target Iran's nuclear program tonight due to intelligence that indicates the regime was within reach of developing nuclear weapons that could threaten the lives of American citizens and U.S. troops stationed across the globe. Bost, a Southern Illinois Republican, said President Trump showed the strength to ensure that never happens. The president will be addressing the nation. So he goes on from there. Obviously, Mike Bost, a Republican, supporting President Donald Trump's decisions here. Some other things that also I think you need to be aware of in Illinois in particular is Governor J.B. Pritzker. He says he's keeping an eye on any kind of developments and any kind of problems there may be from any threat coming out of Iran to the United States. Let's see what he had to say over the weekend on X, putting out statements that he is focused and getting updates from Illinois State Police. Here's some of what the governor had to say. At my request, federal authorities, Illinois State Police, and local law enforcement have kept me updated on any potential physical and cyber threats to the homeland that could affect Illinois. Will remain vigilant and publicly communicate if there are related incidents or concerns. And that was posted almost 20 hours ago. So there you go. There's some of the reaction in Illinois from members of Congress and Governor J.B. Pritzker when it comes to the actions that President Donald Trump took over the weekend, launching several mass ordnance devices, MOABs, to knock out deep penetrating bombs. Some 30 meters, apparently, is where some of these nuclear facilities were in Iran. And sure we'll get a lot more today as to what kind of damage assessments there was. And then, obviously, all eyes are going to be on what kind of reaction and retaliation there could be from Iran. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning to get the latest here in Illinois. And we can keep you posted. Go to the website, thecentersquare.com, and listen in every morning with Illinois in Focus Daily. There are more than 260 bills on the governor's desk right now as we speak, but he only signed one of them on Friday. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up with us here with Illinois in Focus for the latest. Fridays are typically bill signing days for Governor J.B. Pritzker. If he's not going to have a separate event like he did with the budget to sign the bill in front of people and to get the picture of him signing with multiple pens, then he'll do like big announcements of these 12 bills were signed, or I've seen announcements where it's these 250 bills are signed. So we're going to be watching that for Friday afternoons. Typically those get dropped at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's always a mad rush to try to see which bills he signed. But here with Illinois in Focus Daily, I am Illinois editor Greg Bishop for the Center Square, and you can see here 264 bills on the governor's desk. All right, just scrolling through them. It's a lot of legislation, and that's about half of what they passed in spring session. So that means the other half are going to be queued to go to the governor in short order. So, he's got several, weeks, I think like 30 days to act on legislation, and then the House, if there's a veto, and the Senate, if there's a veto, they have to act on it within 60 days, I believe. I'll have to double check on those dates, but I mean, that's the process essentially. So you've got so much legislation on the governor's desk. Obviously, some of them are going to impact a variety of things, from local governments to gun owners to regulations on businesses and regulations on property owners and landlords and schools and universities and the criminal justice system. And that's what was impacted Friday by Senate Bill 19 being signed by Governor J.B. Pritzker. And this dealt with the Prisoner Review Board. Now, the Prisoner Review Board has been under scrutiny with the Pritzker administration. If you recall, over the last several years, there have been some appointments to the Prisoner Review Board that the governor would make that the Senate has to advise and consent. All right, it's very similar to the U.S. Congress and the President of the United States. If the President makes an appointment to a cabinet-level position, for instance, It doesn't go through the U.S. House. It goes through the U.S. Senate for appointment and, for the advise and consent role. Only the U.S. Senate has that ability, not the U.S. House. Well, it's the same thing in Illinois. Only the Illinois Senate has the advise and consent role when it comes to executive appointments from Governor J.B. Pritzker. So the Prisoner Review Board, they review applications for people who are looking to have some relief from their conviction and prison sentence. Sometimes it's they're ailing and they want to be close to family before they pass, or it's, I'm reformed and I'm ready to get back out into society and be a productive member. So you've got various types of requests. So the Prisoner Review Board handles those. While the appointments to those have been dicey in the past couple of years with Governor J.B. Pritzker in some cases, and this isn't just with the PRB, it happens sometimes with other appointments, the governor will make an appointment and the Senate has like 60 session days when they're scheduled. So they have like 60 session days to act on an appointment. And that appointment, if it's controversial, the governor may withdraw that appointment and then reappoint them, restarting that clock. And that's happened several times. But there have been some PRB members in the past that there was bipartisan opposition against because of maybe a lack of experience, maybe a lack of good quality review of decisions that they've made. You have a story that a young child was killed after somebody who was released trying to attack the mother, and that's just one of several types of stories out there where you've got this being a problem and coming to a head, and public safety is definitely a concern. But here is State Representative Will Guzzardi in the Illinois House talking about the changes that come about with Senate Bill 19 that is now law after Governor J.B. Pritzker signed that on Friday. Here is Will Guzzardi back in May.
It's a modernization of the authorizing law for the Prisoner Review Board. There are about 20 distinct changes in the bill. I would describe them as in three general buckets or categories. The first bucket is expanding the rights of victims in petitions before the Prisoner Review Board. This bill also clarifies and improves processes for petitioners who are going before the board. And then the third category of changes would be increasing the professionalism and the efficiency of members of the board, including for the first time a requirement that people with experience in the criminal legal system, law enforcement officers, prosecutors, judges, etc., be appointed to the Prisoner Review Board.
So the Prisoner Review Board has now these qualifications for members to be appointed. But there's also something that rubbed Republicans the wrong way, and that was extending the term for which PRB members can serve.
And then we are affecting the term of the PRB members. We are going from 6 years to 8 years. Why are we increasing their term?
I think my understanding of the effort from the Senate is to try to mitigate the politicization of this board and to try to make it more able to function more smoothly without having to be before the body. And I think that experience on that board is helpful for members. So the idea of these shorter terms, the idea might be that there would be an overmuch turnover and there wouldn't be enough sort of built up experience amongst board members.
Well, I think the point you brought out, and again, conversation with some senators, is they felt like changing the term impacted their ability to have oversight on the PRB because they have to advise and consent on those members, and by linking their term, that limits their authority. Why do you feel this is not a limitation on their authority?
I would say it's a change from 6 years to 8 years, so it's not a drastic change by any measure. And frankly, this is an area in which I'm really deferring to the Senate being the entity that engages in this behavior.
So you got Guzzardi, who is laying out the various particulars of the measure when it comes to how the Senate interacts, but they wanted to get this through because this was important changes to the PRB. A little history, they had a similar piece of legislation last year, but that General Assembly ended in the beginning of January this year. So that legislation is dead and cannot come back. It passed the House, but it passed the Senate, but it never passed the House. And there was allegations that the governor put his weight on the measure to keep it from passing. So they brought this new measure with this new General Assembly that has these other tweaks in it that Republicans raised a red flag about. On the Senate floor, Senate President Don Harmon sponsored SB 19 and had some back and forth with State Senator Steve McClure, a Republican from Springfield.
Why increase that term by 2 years?
President Harmon.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Senator, I think it's a combination of factors that we believe will result in best practices. This is not necessarily a career. We are actively encouraging retired judges, for instance, to join the Prisoner Review Board. But most importantly, we want members to make good decisions free of politics. I think with an 8-year term, members will be less concerned about being reappointed and will serve their term and do the best work that they can do.
Senator McClure.
So then I guess my next question would be, if you want these to be free of politics, do you think it was political when Republicans and Democrats joined together in a majority to get members off the Prisoner Review Board who were releasing people that most of us, I think, were very upset that they were being released?
President Harmon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't think that's related to this bill at all, but I appreciate your question.
So the questions kept going, and then Senator McClure, he decided just to address the issue at hand here, and that is the role that the Senate plays in all of this. With the appointments to the Prisoner Review Board and the importance of that oversight that only the Senate has the power to do.
The House does not advise and consent appointments. The governor does not offer advice and consent on his own appointments. This is a unique duty to us. And that's why I was proud to join President Harmon and Democrats, Republicans, because there was a bill that President Harmon put together by the Senate, from the Senate, because of our unique responsibilities. And unfortunately here, it looks as though the governor has had too much influence on the end result, and the House has had too much influence on the end result. It is not their job to vet these appointments. It is solely our responsibility. And so I was proud of our chamber when we rejected people that were not serving our state in a way that people would agree with who are concerned about public safety.
So that measure is now law after Governor J.B. Pritzker signed it on Friday. We'll be doing this with some of the, not all of the 450 bills that they passed, right? I want to make clear that we're not going to have time for going over all 450 bills, but we will be unpacking the debates that happened around the legislation that the governor enacts that's more controversial. Some of the things, for instance, Senate Bill 8, that is the safe gun storage measure. Governor J.B. Pritzker, I'm anticipating, and just a prediction, he might have a signing ceremony on that to bring gun control advocates together, but clearly there's some gun rights advocates that adamantly oppose the safe gun storage bill to the point where they say that they're going to sue over it. This while you've got pending litigation elsewhere, challenging laws in Illinois. And even preemptive lawsuits challenging potential laws in Illinois. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning. I'm glad to be back in my home studio, but it was nice to be able to see how I could do this remotely, so maybe more of that to come. All right. Get the latest headlines at thecentersquare.com. That's all I got for you today. However, I do want to give a quick gun lawsuit challenge here. The gun ban that's being challenged in court, taking a look at the appeals court's docket in the Barnett case. You can see that late last week, you had Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly motion to extend the time that they have to file their reply brief. And then the judge granted that motion to extend the reply brief. Their reply brief, if any, due by July 28th. So we've got a few more days for the states to file their reply brief in the case challenging Illinois' gun and magazine ban. That's in the appeals court and could be the next case lined up for the U.S. Supreme Court. So stay with us. We'll keep you updated on all of that. Have a great Monday. It's good to be back home after the remote location. I think that worked out well, and we may see some more of that throughout the summer. In anticipation of the 2026 election, I think it'll be good to bounce around the state and get some perspective from people on the ground. So have a great Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.